What's going on, everyone, and welcome back to the Brian Talks Money Show. Today we have some vital information to cover in regards to the economy, inflation, and why unemployment is going to be the next big crisis. With layoffs on the rise, if you haven't heard, top tech companies are already beginning to lay off thousands of workers, and this is said to only be in the beginning stages. So if you want to maximize your chances of not being laid off in 2023, then I suggest you smash that subscribe button and give this video a like. But jumping into today's topics on how nothing makes sense of the economy, inflation is here to stay, bad means good, good means bad, and how unemployment will play a big factor in the months to come as we continue to battle inflation. Right off the bat, major bank B of A warns that U.S. economy will start to lose 175,000 jobs during Q1 of 2023, mentioned in an article by MoneyWise. Now, inflation is the highest we experienced in the last 40 years, and unemployment is at its lowest that we've seen in the last 50 years. But what experts are saying is that the math is not mathing. Who knows what causes inflation? Increase in money supply, increase in demand, decrease in supply, and increase in production costs, meaning everything gets more and more expensive. Now, did you know that if unemployment rises, it can cause inflation to decrease? And that's something that the Fed might be banking on, as we are expecting a crash landing many experts are predicting. But let's pick it up at today's story from CBS News titled, "Unemployment Likely to Surge This Year," CBO says. The U.S. jobless rate just hit its lowest level since 1969, but the Congressional Budget Office is projecting a stagnant economy that may push unemployment to its highest since September 2021, when the nation was recovering its footing from the pandemic. The unemployment rate could jump to 5.1% this year from its January level of 3.4%, the lowest in more than half a century, according to the nonpartisan organization which provides independent analysis of budget and economic issues to Congress. A jump in unemployment of that size would imply that hundreds of thousands of people who are currently employed would lose their jobs. So, does unemployment cause inflation to go down? Well, it can, that and other economic components, but something we must understand is that unemployment affects inflation in the following ways. Unemployment can lead to a decrease in demand for goods and services, which can reduce inflation by decreasing the amount of money chasing goods and services. Unemployment can lead to a lower wage growth or even wage cuts, which can reduce labor costs and put a downward pressure on prices, helping ease inflation. One of the main pressure points fueling inflation is consumer spending. If you recall, when the Fed decided to give money away in 2020 and 2021, this gave consumers disposable income that was just fed right back into the economy, causing high demand and a decrease in supply. The economy is now definitely feeling and seeing the after effects of those decisions. But let's pick it up on an article from The Hill titled, "What Recession? Americans Still Powering the Economy Despite High Inflation." It mentions key economic indicators such as huge retail sales, historic job gains, are painting a picture of a robust economy that shows few signs of slowing down. But a smaller than expected drop in January inflation has some economists worried that the Federal Reserve is going to prolong its interest rate hikes, which could tip the economy into a recession that puts millions of people out of work. The week of February 13th was perhaps one of the most important weeks of the year for the economy, as we got tons of data that measures inflation and the faith of the economy. The article mentions the Consumer Price Index, CPI, a key gauge of inflation, has fallen for 7 months in a row, dropping to 6.4% annually in January off a high of 9.1% last June. Markets have been expecting CPI to land at 6.2%, cueing chorus of economists who want the Fed to press ahead with its rate hikes. While the Fed says it's pursuing a soft landing, meaning lower inflation without serious recession, it expects its rate hikes to boost the unemployment rate by 1.2 percentage points according to December projections, which likely mean losing at least 1 million jobs. The harsh reality is that if we want inflation to cool down, we're going to have to go through some pains in the economy, meaning we can certainly expect more rate hikes. And unfortunately, many people will lose their jobs in the months to come. So what can we expect to happen next with the economy if things don't get better? The article goes on to mention that high inflation could still force the Fed's hand. The article reads, "Prices are coming down, but not fast enough to bring relief to working families or satisfy the Fed." Core prices, which excludes food and energy prices and is closely watched by the Fed, rose by 0.4% in January, unchanged from December and an uptick from November. The increase was driven by higher housing costs, with the rent rising by 0.8% in January. The Fed, eager to avoid high prices from becoming the new normal, has said it's willing to boost rates high enough to cause economic downturn or even a full-blown recession. Financial markets are predicting that the Fed will implement 2 additional quarter percentage point interest rate hikes, minor moves meant to slowly cool the economy during the next 2 policy meetings. But several Fed officials said this week that stricter measures may be in order even if they rise the risk of a recession later in the year. The battle against inflation is not finished, and the Fed have made it very clear that they are going to take all the necessary steps in order to accomplish their economic goals. Although many hope otherwise, the article finishes by saying, some economists remain hopeful that a soft landing is still possible, noting that the government's data on rents is typically delayed by several months, and the private sector data shows that rents are falling. It could be a tale of 2 halves for inflation this year. Stronger than expected inflation in the first half and its more significant deceleration in the second half, Oxford economist, chief U.S. economist Ryan Sweet said in a research note. My personal advice is to predict. Constantly be on the lookout for what is happening in the economy and how it affects you and your finances. The next thing is to prepare, create a plan, budget, be on top of your personal finances, and I can't stress this enough. Now, more than ever, it's crucial to gain financial literacy and understand how money works. I plan to persevere in 2023 because I'm prepared. So, if this video was helpful to you in any way, then smash the subscribe button, give this video a like, and share it with someone that's looking to gain financial literacy and win in 2023. So, with that being said, thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys next week.